This video is sponsored by Surfshark. Spider-Man might just have the worst superhero life ever. Hey, OGs, tap in before 100K.
Never asked to be Spider-Man. Never asked for these powers.
So the scene starts with the cops pulling up to try and stop the bootleg Avengers, also known as the Sinister Six, who finally make their arrival to New York. And this man Rhino did not care about human life a tad bit, cause he starts ramming into trucks and cars, had this police officer on the floor waddling like a penguin. He was not made for this job. So after Rhino scares away some innocent civilians, Spider-Man finally appears out of the blue, and he starts fat-shaming this man, talking about how he isn't surprised that any jail cells can't hold him, because he's 280 pounds. Like, bro, Peter Parker really turned into a whole menace. He was moving just like Bully Maguire in Spider-Man 3 when he was pressing Brock at his own job, stole his girl and everything. I would have crashed out if that was me. So Peter Parker starts getting those spidey senses, but right as he starts rubbing his head wondering what's up with him, this dude Sandman says peekaboo and smacks Spider-Man onto the building and straight to the ground, giving him that Floyd Mayweather type of CTE. And Spider-Man is mad confused. He's like, hold on, wait a minute, since when did all of you guys team up together? I thought it took all of you down already. And this is actually dirty work, cause they really had my boy Peter in a 1 versus 6 situation, and they were just hawking him down, getting ready to jump this man like there was no tomorrow. So Aunt May thinks it's a bright idea to tell Doc Ock to stop attacking Spider-Man. Like, dog, if you don't get out of here and find somewhere to hide, why are you even telling a group of villains to stop being evil? Like, what do you not understand? Your brain, it doesn't work. Like, you're just asking to get rolled up in a spliff. You're one blast away from getting reunited back with Uncle Ben. Spider-Man brings her aunt back to safety, only for him to get grabbed by the back of his head by Doc Ock. And then he throws a perfect alley-oop to Shocker, who blasts him into the billboard and right through the car. Like, the Sinister Six really had everyone fearing for their lives. It got so bad that even Aunt May dropped to the floor and started having a whole heart attack. Like, Peter Parker has 30 seconds to grab her reboot card before she gets turned into dust. Like, at this point, this is personal, because they really took out Peter's family member. This is unacceptable behavior, bro. So Rhino tries going after Spider-Man, but he swings onto the traffic lights and then goes into the air, just for him to get clipped by Vulture's wings. Like, oh nah, they really ripped off some of Peter's drip. That's gotta be at least $5,000 of damage. That black suit is antique material. You cannot let that one slide. Spider-Man immediately webs onto the Vulture's back, and he decides that the best option is to punch him right in the back. Like, man, if you don't smack him in the head or something with a pan, like, what was that supposed to achieve? He's wearing protective armor. Like, use your brain cells. The Sinister Six were actually relentless. They did not give my boy Peter even a millisecond to breathe and catch a break, because Doc Ock grips onto him and then throws him to Sandman, who smacks the living crap out of him with a baseball bat. And he had my dog Peter fighting for his life. And Spider-Man could not handle the pressure of being jumped by 6 people at one time, so he bails himself out by jumping into the water and dipping like he's Miles Morales. And after that abomination of a performance, I think the lights were brighter than expected for Spider-Man. Like, he really averaged 10 broken cars, 5 damaged buildings, and 0 ops being taken down. Like, he was out here moving like Tony Snell. And the Sinister Six were like, why is Spider-Man ducking the smoke? They were just standing there like,
why are you running? Why are you running?
And real quick, I just want to introduce you to the sponsor for today's video, Surfshark. Surfshark VPN gives you access to over 3,200 fast servers available in over 100 different countries. And Surfshark is far more than just a VPN, because it safeguards your personal information online and also protects your device against viruses and malicious software. All you gotta do is connect to one of these servers, and now you can watch your favorite shows or movies on streaming platforms such as Netflix or Disney Plus on a secure and private connection that also may not have been available in your region. Surfshark lets me binge popular series without any buffering, alongside constant pop-up ads that make me want to smash my screen. Surfshark has helped me unlock my inner iPad kid by allowing me to connect to unlimited devices on the same account simultaneously, as they provide a VPN experience on the Nintendo Switch, Xbox, PlayStation, Smart TV, and many more. If you want to opt out, Surfshark gives you a 30-day money-back guarantee as well. But make sure to download Surfshark by using my code YoAli at checkout to get a whopping 4 extra months of Surfshark VPN, or you can also click the link in the description. So after Spider-Man got off the leash and escaped from the Sinister Six, they huddle together as a group and form a game plan, unlike Darvin Ham with the Lakers, to where they force Spider-Man to appear at a bank after they hold people hostage, which obviously will start a fight between them and Spider-Man. So everyone agrees and they're like, that's a great idea.
I'm with that.
So Vulture catches Spider-Man lacking and breaks his webs, making him hit nothing but straight concrete. Like, I know his back is on life support. We all know Peter was losing it inside of that mask hitting the...
I knew it was fake. I knew it.
Spider-Man proceeds to get whacked around by the Sinister Six, getting thrown into buildings and cars. I know that suit is doing its very best job trying to protect Peter Parker's bones from getting turned into straight molecules. This man Doc Ock uses his freaky arms to grab Spider-Man and knocks him right to the ground. And I know Rhino is not smiling right now thinking he did something. My boy Doc Ock is the MVP on the team, like he's Lionel Messi or LeBron James. He's the main reason Spider-Man is even captured right now. Like, Rhino is really the type of guy to take credit for the group project and get an A, even though he didn't contribute to anything. Nah, cause this man Rhino had one job. He's an actual sellout, cause Doc Ock tells him to smack the remaining brain cells out of Spider-Man. But this man runs in slow motion, which gives Spider-Man time to react and webs him in the face as well as Doc Ock. Electro tries electrocuting Spider-Man, no pun intended. That was funny, right guys?
Brother, this guy stinks!
And I don't know what he was cooking up, because he sends Spider-Man flying into a whole different area to where he finally gets freed up once again. Like, look at Electro's face. You could tell he screwed up, cause this man really activated friendly fire and took out Doc Ock in the process. And if you guys can subscribe real quick if you're here, might as well. So the Sinister Six pulls up on Spider-Man and Doc Ock makes the first play and tries extending his arm in attempt to grab Spider-Man. But he really said he's Weave Nation certified, cause he does a double backflip and lands on the ledge and then hits a third backflip. Like, dang, you cannot tell me that was not clean. My dog was free falling to the bottom about to get turned into Gwen Stacy. But then he webs Doc Ock and sees that Sandman is about to charge up a nasty right hook. So he makes both of them collide together using his webs and has them tumbling like a bowling ball. So Spider-Man gets beamed right on his shoulder and he was not about to let that one go unnoticed. So he shoots his webs upwards and gives Shocker and Electro some brain damage, having them looking like these. But then Sandman takes advantage and gives him a knuckle sandwich, making him fly backwards. And these villains are really some S-tier frauds, cause even when they come at Spider-Man from all directions, they still manage to mess it all up, cause Spider-Man webs onto the wall just for Vulture and Sandman to crash into one each other. Like, nah, y'all are actually trash. Imagine not being able to take down a teenager. Just pack it all up and retire at this point. Like, go back to jail. So Rhino takes a chunk of the ground with Spider-Man stuck onto it and throws it into the air. But obviously it has no effect on Peter, cause he slings back with his webs and smacks him in the face. And then Electro and Shocker come back for round 2 and they get to blasting away at Spider-Man. And Peter was out here moving around like a circus monkey, because he does a few flips and shoots 2 webs at them. And bro, tell me how Electro and Shocker did not just see the webs that were coming right for them. Like, they gotta have the same awareness as my pet sloth. Like, Spider-Man had them on the floor looking mad stupid. So Rhino rushes at Spider-Man, but he uses his 40-inch vertical to jump into the air, and then he maneuvers onto his back and then webs him right in the face. But this is where Spider-Man starts playing around with the Sinister Six like he's their pet or something. Electro and Shocker try shooting at Spider-Man, but Peter, using his spidey senses, hops into the air, leaving Rhino to get his entire body blasted. Had my boy hitting the... The Sinister Six were doing everything in their power trying to stop Spider-Man, but anything they tried was instantly shut down, because Shocker tries sneaking in from the side just for Peter to dodge the blast and then toss Rhino onto Electro, had that man suffocating. And my boy Spider-Man was about to escape through the sewer, and I don't blame him for running away. He was just trying to go back home and get some sleep. It was like 9 o'clock at night. So Vulture sees Spider-Man about to leave the scene, and he starts talking about... Vulture rushes in at Spider-Man and actually manages to pin him down, but then Shocker is like, get out the way before I shoot you by accident. So he lets Spider-Man get back up and then he hits the and webs onto Vulture and lands on his back, then proceeds to deactivate his brain and makes him land on a gigantic spider web. So Spider-Man runs Vulture's pockets and he spins the block on Shocker and uses Vulture's own projectile to disable his weapon. But then he jumps into the air and it results in Shocker putting a hole in Sandman's chest, giving him the letter O. That man is cooked. Spider-Man uses his 1000 IQ and makes Shocker eviscerate Sandman into nothing but straight particles. He turned that man into Thanos. He's done for. He's not coming back after that one. So Shocker hits him with a mean punch, sending Spider-Man rolling backwards. But then Doc Ock appears out of nowhere and grabs onto Spider-Man's cranium, about to crush it into a whole grape. And this has to be plot armor, because Spider-Man was about to get finished clearly. But Electro starts radiating his electricity and makes Doc Ock fall down to his knees, which gives Spider-Man another chance. So Spider-Man starts hitting these athletic flips, moving around to dodge Doc Ock's mechanical arms, but then he grabs his legs, swings him around, just for Spider-Man to kick him straight in the face, and I knew it was game over for the Sinister Six after that one. Spider-Man grabs onto Doc Ock like a high school bully, about to end this man's whole career. But the feds suddenly pull up, telling him to stop and that it's over. So he drops him and makes his way out of there. Long story short, Black Suit Spider-Man is a whole different monster. This man really squad wiped an entire team. So the scene kicks off with New York City being absolutely terrorized by Electro as he starts yelling for Spider-Man to come out of the shadows and reveal himself. Like the Sinister Six really took no days off. They even pulled up to run the Fade on Christmas Eve. Like, why aren't y'all spending time with your family? Where is your dad? Where is your mom? Where is your family? Spider-Man finally appears and he webs Electro, then hops into the air and proceeds to dodge a few more of Electro's blasts by maneuvering himself with his spider webs. But then Peter's spidey senses really took a day off of work because he gets met with a double leg kick from Vulture, forcing him to recover by swinging onto the skating rink. Wait, hold on. Is it just Vulture and Electro? Because if it's only them that I'm fighting, this will all be over in 5 minutes. This is really free eats for me.
Stop the cap.
And this is the wrong time to be thinking, especially in the middle of combat. Like, yo, Spider-Man has to get his head in the game because he gets blasted in the chest by Electro's beam, sending him to the floor. And then Electro gets all confident talking smack over Spider-Man's body. But I don't know why he's running his mouth considering how this fraud got done in their last fight. Like, I guarantee you if Electro was alone, he would not be acting this tough. Like, you give a regular civilian some superpowers and they start acting like they run the entire planet. But this is where Electro crosses the line, because not only does he electrocute Peter Parker's friends, but he shocks Mary Jane and Liz. And that right there would be enough for me to crash out, because the #1 rule is to stay away from Peter Parker's snow bunnies. Like, she is very gorgeous to me. So Spider-Man does a Duke Dennis front flip, and then he grabs Electro's leg and says, "Sit your ass down." And then Spider-Man swings himself onto the Christmas tree and then wraps Vulture around with his spider webs. And you could tell by Vulture's face that he was mad angry. I mean, shoot, I would be mad too if I looked like Gru from Despicable Me with that long ass nose. And Electro sees an opportunity to free up Vulture, and he really shot a beam at the Christmas tree and said, "You know what, that's a great idea." But all this idiot does is break down the tree, and Vulture was straight up getting traumatized. My boy was hitting the...
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something.
So Flash pushes Liz out of the way, and then he looks into the sky and sees a gigantic Christmas tree that's about to turn him into Flat Stanley, like that one kid from Spider-Man 1. But then Peter swings in and saves Flash by dropping him off at a rooftop. And I'm convinced that Flash is working for the Sinister Six, because peep how he intentionally distracts Spider-Man by telling him to sign his cast. And then the very next second, he gets shot point blank by Electro. Like, use your common sense. My guy Flash planned that entire sequence. Like, him bullying Peter Parker at school should have already been a clear red flag. So after a bit of running away from Electro, his plan becomes successful because Spider-Man's main goal was to get Electro off of the ice so that he can go take on each member of the Sinister Six at one time. So they finally arrive outside of a little warehouse, and Spider-Man starts hopping around to dodge Electro's blast, but then he starts slipping and falling on the tires. Like, bro, how are you this clumsy? You've been Spider-Man for a good couple months now, but you're out here moving like it's your first time inside of that suit. Spider-Man starts kicking a bunch of tires at Electro, but this man's awareness level is on 0 because Electro doesn't realize that the tires that he's melting are being being stuck under his feet. Like, this is really a 9 to 5 to Spider-Man. This is easy money, cause he stacks a bunch of tires on Electro, making him unable to move his body around. And Spider-Man must have forgot that the Sinister Six were fiending to get their get back after how he squad wiped them. I know that nasty jail food was getting to them. I would be plotting something too if a kid sent me to jail and had me eating beans. Like, they didn't even give Spider-Man a breather, cause they straight up sneak him with a punch, and then we see Sandman and Rhino make their appearance. And I'm not gonna lie, bro, get them off of my screen. They got packed up like 5 times. I don't know why they haven't retired yet. Like, give up. Spider-Man gets tossed across the warehouse and gets slammed into a car, and then Rhino starts dashing at Spider-Man, only for him to go through his legs. And bro, what is this man Rhino aiming at? He must be seeing Casper the Ghost, because I don't see anything except straight air. Like, nah, who even invited my man's Rhino onto the team? This man is worse than Hawkeye. He literally has no abilities. He's good at nothing. He's really just a person inside of a Rhino cosplay. So right as Spider-Man is about to grapple onto a lamppost, he gets jump scared by Sandman, and then they start disrespecting Spider-Man by smacking him around and sending him through a bus, making him roll onto the ground. Like, nah, this man Peter might be washed without that black suit. I know he was wishing for that symbiote to take over his body so that he can get those old powers back again. Spider-Man tries escaping from Rhino and Sandman, and this dude really tried talking it out with 2 of the most dangerous villains. Like, you should already know that if you're a superhero and you're trying to inflict the opponent with a subtle speech, 99% of the time that's not gonna work. The only solution is really to throw hands to resolve the issue. And Sandman heard what Spider-Man just said, and he was like, ain't nobody got time for that, cause he hits him with a Will Smith special, making him eat the concrete. And bro, look at the finesse on that slap. This is a 16-year-old kid. There's no reason for you to be charging it up from that far. Like, this has to be child abuse, cause boy, ain't no way. Rhino starts giving Spider-Man the Loki treatment, just straight up banging his body against the ground, and that right there must have channeled something inside of Peter Parker. So he takes a step back, and then right as Sandman is about to sneak up behind Spider-Man, he gets disintegrated by the water that's coming from the fire hydrant, and Rhino saw that and was not gonna let that slide. Rhino rushes at Spider-Man, only for him to get smacked in the face by a fire extinguisher, and then he hops over to Spider-Man and gets sunk under the ice and into the water with his rod wave sized body. I already know the ice was fighting for its life to stay together, but it just couldn't. Sandman appears out of nowhere and pummels Spider-Man with his fist, and then he teleports behind him and tries smashing Spider-Man with his hammer, but he hits a clean backflip into a double weave. And at this point, I could already see the writing on the wall. It was looking rough for Sandman, cause he was getting slowed down from the cold weather, so there wasn't really anything he could do. Spider-Man jumps on his shoulder and then uses the tree to free Sandman using the snow from the branches, and it's about dang time he packed them up. Like, I'm not even gonna hold you guys, it took Spider-Man like a good 15 minutes to get rid of them. If he had that opium Playboy Cardi suit, it would have been much faster. But anywho, since Spider-Man just took out 2 members of the Sinister Six, he has 4 more remaining. So Spider-Man sees Shocker and Doc Ock standing on top of a building, so he tries going in for a kick, but he should have already knew it was fake. I knew it. But this was all an illusion because Kraven pops out of nowhere and smacks Spider-Man straight onto the pavement. And look at how his back bounced off of the ground. Like, there's no way Spider-Man is fine after that. What is this plot armor? Like, him getting back up is pure nerves and emotion. This man fell like 50 feet from the air. And now Kraven and Mysterio roll up on Spider-Man, wanting nothing but straight smoke. And I'ma be honest, Kraven can throw hands. Like, let's not forget how he almost ended Peter's entire career right before this. But Mysterio on the other hand, I don't know if I can say the same for him, cause that man is trash. He's a liability to the Sinister Six. Like, he's really just taking up space on the squad. He's like that one group member that's a part of your project only cause a teacher said so. Then Spider-Man tries hiding behind a billboard that has J. Jonah Jameson on it. Like, knowing how much of a hater he is, that man probably has secret cameras hiding inside of his eyes to track down Spider-Man. So Kraven immediately body tackles Spider-Man, and then he starts holding him like how Cell did to Gohan, just straight up strangling Spider-Man with all his body force. Then Spider-Man proceeds to web Kraven in the face, and then he leaves the scene by crashing himself inside of a shopping mall. And bro, the Sinister Six really didn't let Peter catch any breaks because Kraven suddenly appears. Like, nah, imagine working your 9 to 5 at the mall on Christmas Eve and seeing a 7-foot lion and a human spider fighting each other. But if you think about it, this is really a normal day in New York City. This happens on a daily basis. We really got a kaiju lizard on the loose and a goblin psychopath flying around on a hover pad. It really doesn't get more crazier than that. So Spider-Man hits a clean duck down dodge and then grabs a perfume and smashes it against his face. And I know Kraven's eyes are fuming like crazy right now. My guy was shaking like he ain't ever feel pain like this in his life. Then Mysterio comes to help Kraven and then he spawns in some bats out of nowhere. Like, yo, where did he even pull them out from? This man can really pull out bats on demand whenever he wants. What kind of tomfoolery is this? And Spider-Man was tired of Mysterio spamming the same move over and over again, so he webs the bats and makes them spin like a fidget spinner and then tosses it at Mysterio. But then this man literally teleports onto the second floor, and peep how there are absolutely no security guards in sight. Like, they really saw all this madness going on and called it a night and said, we're not gonna deal with all this. The $10 per hour ain't worth it. So Spider-Man goes to swing in at Mysterio, but he gets intercepted by Kraven, and we see that there are actually two Mysterios, meaning that the real one is on the first floor and that the other one next to Kraven is a bot. So right before the fake Mysterio is about to explode, Spider-Man swings in to save some people, only for Kraven to get team killed by Mysterio. Like, getting killed by your own teammate is insane. This man Kraven was so overpowered that the writer said that if Spider-Man isn't gonna kill him, then we will. So to end it all off, Peter somehow webs Mysterio, who was invisible, so he unmasks himself like it's a Scooby-Doo episode. And then Spider-Man starts pressing Mysterio, just asking him who the master planner behind all of this is, but then he proceeds to say the most corniest crap I've ever heard.
Maybe the master planner has a master plan?
Man, you corny!
So the scene kicks off with Peter Parker getting ready to leave his house so that he can go check in with Aunt May at the hospital. And this man really thought that it would be a normal day, but what he didn't know was that Eddie Brock had different plans for Spider-Man today. Out of nowhere, Spider-Man gets grabbed by his back and gets tossed onto the concrete. Like, dog, this is actually crazy. This man Peter really isn't safe anywhere he goes, not even in his own backyard. Like, he didn't even have time to put on his mask, and Venom is already spawn camping him at his own property. Like, Eddie Brock, I promise you, it's not that serious. Like, go find a hobby or something. Go color a book or draw a painting, I don't know. Venom pulled up on Spider-Man with straight evil intentions because he backhands him, had that boy laying on the floor like LeBron James after being eliminated from the playoffs, and then Venom grabs Spider-Man by the shoulders and smacks him onto the wall. But then Venom tries going in for a punch, but he says, nope, not today. So Spider-Man starts questioning how the symbiote got unleashed, and he tells us that he destroyed it for good. But hold on, I don't think he actually got rid of the symbiote, because all they did was place it inside of a container to where Venom took control of Eddie Brock.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
Spider-Man rushes in for an attack, but he instantly gets grabbed by his head like a grape getting ready to be squashed. And then Venom says, hold this three-piece combo. Then puts his head on the ground, and I don't know why Venom was hovering over Spider-Man like this. Like, you are not Diddy, but I'ma let it slide for the one time. And Venom recognized that Peter Parker is indeed Spider-Man, so he tells him that he's gonna try his hardest to ruin his life and do whatever he can to make everything harder for him, talking about how he's poison to both Peter Parker and Spider-Man.
Huh?
Like, bro, this episode really went from 0 to 100 real quick, no Drake. Like, it really started off as a peaceful episode and then turned into nothing but straight violence. And Peter Parker definitely smelled Venom's stank at breath, so he webs him in the face, then says, catch this elbow, and how about a donkey kick? And we see that Venom is clearly blind, but instead of going in for a few close combat attacks, this man Peter sells the bag completely and webs him for the second time. And yeah, this is where things go from north to south real quick. Venom breaks out of Spider-Man's webs and then slings him towards himself and then serves him up with a scrumptious knuckle sandwich. But Spider-Man says shmoing, 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 and eats that up with no problem, cause he gets back up and hops onto Venom. But right as we all thought he was about to cook, he gets completely manhandled and karate kicked straight into the trash. And I'm not gonna lie, at this point,
It's not looking good, bruv. It's not looking good.
So Venom proceeds to wrap Spider-Man around like he's an ancient mummy, and then he tells him that he's gonna make him suffer a little bit longer before packing him up. Like, bro, you can't convince me that this is not D1 level of hating. Someone give Venom a medal for this performance, the greatest hater of the century. And Venom said he was trying to get personal with Peter Parker, cause he's like, after all, we know who you are and everyone you care about.
Whoa, calm down, Jamal.
Don't pull out the 9.
And while I'm watching this, I'm just telling Spider-Man through my screen to get back up and stop Venom before he goes on a 500 kill streak and takes out all of New York. But all I can say is that you're in real trouble, Peter Parker. So Venom rolls up on Aunt May at the hospital, and I really thought this would be Green Goblin traumatizing Aunt May all over again, but this version of Spider-Man is never gonna let that slide because he lands on Venom and gets to throwing out hands immediately. And my guy Peter Parker told Venom that he does not play around when it comes to family. He said, you're gonna have to get by me first like it's a final boss battle. So Spider-Man dives in like Rod Wave jumping into a pile of Big Macs with extra cheese and barbecue sauce added on the sides, and then Venom says weave, gives him a vicious gut punch into an uppercut, and then smacks him against the wall. Like, yo, this man Venom is a freak. What is he trying to do with Peter? I thought y'all were trying to fight. Spider-Man and Venom drop down one story below, and then he jumps over his back and tries webbing him behind himself, but Spider-Man must have forgot that Venom weighs like 300 pounds. He has the same build as Queso. He should have already knew those webs were gonna do absolutely nothing. Venom effortlessly swings Spider-Man onto the wall, and I don't know how his back isn't broken after all these blows from Venom, but I know one thing for sure, that Spider-Man suit must be working overtime to keep Peter's bones from not shattering into 50 million different pieces. So Venom goes in for a Hulk smash, but Spider-Man says he's out of there ASAP, and then Venom webs Spider-Man in the face so that he can go back up to Aunt May and try and catch her lacking in her hospital bed. But Spider-Man said today was the wrong day to mess with him. Venom should have waited until his aunt recovered and made it home. But anywho, Spider-Man puts Venom into a chokehold and gives him a few punches. So then they both go at it for a little while, and this man was really about to snap Peter in half like a pencil, but then Venom spares his life by throwing him downwards, and then he tells him that he's after his snow bunny, Gwen Stacy. And if you guys have seen the Spider-Man movies, you know that if it's any version of Spider-Man, the only thing they care about most is their girl.
Has to put it up with the buzzer. Banks it in.
And before we get into the main course, might as well hit that subscribe button if you made it this far. It doesn't hurt to press that button. So Spider-Man pulls up to the parade and he sees Mary Jane hanging out with the Flash, and I know he was in utter shock after seeing MJ with another man this week. Like, bro, wasn't she just with Eddie Brock the other day? She really be getting passed around more than Kevin Durant. She can't stick to one guy at once. Spider-Man sees Gwen Stacy being tied up and being held hostage by Venom, but right as he was about to go in to save her, he gets absolutely bodied by Venom. And all I can say is that Peter's spidey senses must have took a day off of vacation or something, because how did he not see that one coming? Like, that was so obvious, even I would have sensed Venom.
Stop the cap.
And yo, here's the funny part, cause Spider-Man tells Eddie to stop causing all this destruction because the symbiote is trying to take control over him. But Peter didn't know that this man literally chose to be Venom. Like, he wanted to gain all of these superpowers just so that he can go after Peter Parker. Like, Eddie Brock is literally on the same level of hating as Kendrick Lamar when it comes to hating on Drake. And as soon as Spider-Man heard that Venom wanted nothing but straight smoke with him, he decided to swing his way off of the rooftop thinking he was about to get off easy. And Venom said he was trying to play Angry Birds with Spider-Man because he catapulted Spider-Man back onto the fighting arena, had that boy stumbling after getting severe brain damage from Venom's attacks. And Venom started thrashing around Spider-Man even though he tried talking it out with Venom like a good person, but he was not trying to hear anything Spider-Man wanted to say. He only came for his get back after how Peter bullied him in the last episode. So Spider-Man makes his way to Gwen Stacy, but then Venom appears out of nowhere like he's playing a game of Baldi's Basics, and then he starts choking the life out of Spider-Man. Like, bro, let him go save Gwen Stacy. What do you gain from torturing Spider-Man? Like, Eddie Brock is actually a cornball because he even unmasks himself just to give Peter a whole villain speech that clearly none of us wants to hear. And Spider-Man had enough with Venom, so he kicks him away and goes to rescue Gwen Stacy for like the third time. And Venom tried slamming Spider-Man, but all it did was make him bounce around on the balloon. Like, Venom really fell for the easiest trick in the entire book because Spider-Man said, "Come rip off my suit."
What do you mean by that?
And then Venom tries clawing onto Spider-Man, but he says,
You're too slow.
Venom slowly crawls up to Spider-Man and gives him a Mike Tyson uppercut, only for Spider-Man to web downwards and catch Gwen Stacy just in time before this happens to her. And I'm not gonna lie, you gotta give respect for the type of hate Venom has for Spider-Man, cause he swoops in and grabs him, which results in Gwen Stacy falling to the ground. But Flash, being a real one, picks up the assist for Spider-Man and gives her a soft landing. So Venom rushes in with a left hook, but Peter says weave, backflip, and then he webs Venom to the other side, slamming him into a metal fence, had him screaming like this. Venom gets back up and tosses him into the air just for him to be tossed straight to the pavement, and he had my boy Spider-Man tasting nothing but the flavor of the bricks. And Venom said he's not finished because he grabs Spider-Man and then flings him onto the rooftop. Then Spider-Man gets on his knees, and initially when I was first watching this, I thought he accepted his fate and gave up, but he really used his 500 IQ because watch what he does. He tells the symbiote inside of Venom to return back to Spider-Man because he knows that it wants to be reunited back with its first partner. So it actually somehow works, and the symbiote slips off of Eddie Brock. So Brock falls to the ground, and I know after all that fighting that boy is tired from all the physical exercise. But then right as the symbiote is about to take control of Peter Parker, they have a little conversation, and the symbiote suddenly realizes that this was all a trap and that Peter wanted nothing to do with him this entire time. Peter Parker puts up some barriers in order to prevent the symbiote from entering his body, and the episode ends with Peter capturing it inside of a bag and getting rid of it permanently by draining it inside of a construction site. But yo, here's the real question, is the symbiote really gone for good? So after Venom pulled up to the Daily Bugle to reveal Spider-Man's real identity of him being Peter Parker under that mask, literally everyone in New York City was interrogating him, asking if this was actually true. But even though Peter denied those allegations, this man J. Jonah Jameson really said,
"Nah, I'ma do my own thing."
Like, despite the fact that most of Peter's friends and family members said that him being Spider-Man was completely cap, this man Jonah took off his ears and straight up ran off with what Venom told him. But honestly, I'm not even surprised because once you're a hater, you're always a hater. Like, we really had a 40-year-old man and a symbiote consuming freak trying to ruin a 16-year-old's reputation. Nah, cause getting your own son to take down Spider-Man is crazy work. They really had this man inside of a spacesuit trying to fight Peter Parker. And also, what kind of whack-ass name is Colonel Jupiter? Like, they really be letting anyone hop inside of a suit and run the ones with Spider-Man. And the hatred is actually running deep because Flash was out here framing Spider-Man by transforming into the black suit, making everyone think that Peter Parker was actually the one causing all these crimes. Like, my guy Peter was having a whole identity crisis. It was really him against the entire world. Like, me personally, if I was Spider-Man, I would have just accepted my fate and gave up right then and there. So we transition back to the high school where Flash is getting questioned by one of his friends, and he starts talking about, can you tell me why Peter Parker was dressed up as Spider-Man on Halloween? Anyone can suit up and pretend to be Spider-Man. Don't you remember? We had a whole dinosaur in the Spider Society. And I want all of you guys to think to yourself for a second, what would any egotistical high school football player want to do that makes them look cooler? Yep, that's right, put themselves inside of a Spider-Man suit. Like, nah, this man Flash really thinks he's him. You are not Spider-Man. How are you gonna try and steal Peter Parker's drip, but you bought that suit straight off of Temu? So these crooks pull up on Temu Spider-Man thinking he's about to be a free lick, free eats, free collectibles, cause they're like, wait, hold on, he's on crutches right now, which probably means he's injured.
You don't find that suspicious?
But they should have already knew this was a trap. Like, look at the smirk on this man's face. This was gonna be the best day of his entire life, cause he was really about to run Spider-Man's pockets and get put on the news in the same day. There's not much better you could ask for. And then Flash proceeds to get folded onto the ground like an omelet by getting his own crutches used against him. And then right as he's about to put Flash to sleep, like me after listening to a DDG song, the real Spider-Man finally shows up and webs the crutch out of his hands. And then bro finally realizes that this is all fake. He got tricked into pulling up on the wrong person cause he starts hitting the Uncle Ruckus.
No, this can't be.
So Spider-Man tells a crook to hold Flash's crutch, jumps over him, and then grabs the other one, just for Spider-Man to pack him up in one swing. And then Spider-Man uses good or reliable, which is Spidey senses, cause he senses the other one coming from behind, but Spider-Man leaps behind him and kicks him in the back, making both of them get tangled together. And I'm not even gonna lie, that's embarrassing. Like if you get cooked this badly and there's like 10 cameras on you at one time, there's only one option. You have to pack your bags and move to a whole different state. And we get the most unexpected pull-up, because as Spider-Man is talking to the news reporter, this man Venom comes in out of nowhere and kicks the crap out of Spider-Man, sending him crashing into a car. And oh nah, look at Venom's face. This man has never been more jolly in his entire life. I know he was dreaming all night of ruining Peter Parker's entire career. Like this man Eddie Brock is a generational hater. I aspire to be like him. I need to start hating more and being less positive. Some of you guys need to suffer. I'm gonna be on my villain arc talking about
This world shall know pain.
So Venom fires a couple of webs at Spider-Man and he tells him that he's gonna unmask him and reveal his true identity. But not only that, he's also gonna make him drink the gene cleanser so that all of Peter's supernatural abilities are gone, reduced to atoms. Like even Spider-Man was flabbergasted when he heard Venom talking about how he was gonna make him powerless so that he's unable to defend the people that he loves the most. Like what has Peter done to deserve this type of treatment? There's no way Eddie Brock dislikes him that much. So the fight starts off with Venom launching at Spider-Man with a mean right hook, and I know he was tired of getting constantly stunned by Venom. And right as Venom tries going in for a second punch, this man Spider-Man says nope, and hits him with a double kick to the chin, knocking the taste out of Venom's mouth. Like I know Venom felt that one deep down in his soul because his head almost came off of his body. That's how hard he got kicked. And this part actually had me on the very edge of my seat because Venom somehow manages to take off Peter's mask, which reveals his face, but then he flips upside down while still being unable to move because of the webs that have him glued against the car. But then Venom lands on top of the car, and Peter, being on some Wizards of Waverly Place type of timing, he sees that Spider-Man is no longer there. And yo, peep the facial expressions. This man really couldn't believe his eyes, and I low-key had the same reaction because how did bro just disappear that quickly? Where could he have gone? So Spider-Man snags back the mask from Venom and puts it on his face, and then right as Venom is about to toss a whole car at him, he suddenly webs him across the entire street and makes him spin around like a Beyblade. And of course Venom manages to make a safe landing by using his webs. Like bro, take this in for a second. Imagine trying to explain to your car insurance company how your vehicle ended up like this. You can't even make anything up at that point. You're just gonna be sitting there trying to explain like your Z ass.
What'd he say, Z? Cause I don't know.
Spider-Man leaps forwards and throws a garbage can at Venom. Like nah, there's no way he actually thought that move would have any impact on Venom. So Venom uses the car that's behind Spider-Man and webs it towards him and then smacks Spider-Man right in the back, making him eat the concrete, and then Venom lunges onto the car right after. But the job's not finished yet because Venom webs Spider-Man and makes him swing around town, sending him flying into the school entrance. And I'm not gonna hold you, Spectacular Spider-Man is moving like Tom Holland right now. He's looking like a straight fraud. And if you thought things couldn't get any worse, you were completely wrong, because Spider-Man starts spamming a bunch of webs at Venom, but he's just eating them up like a Big Mac. Like look at how Venom is walking towards Spider-Man. He's not even taking him a tad bit seriously. He's just toying around with him like it's Naruto versus Konohamaru. This is just straight up embarrassment. So Venom shoots a web at Spider-Man, but he says weave, and bro, look, this man just caused an entire hole in the stairs just by one single web. Like I don't know what they put inside of that symbiote, but they should have never gave it to Eddie Brock because it's just way too overpowered. That's like giving the Infinity Gauntlet to Thanos. It's just not fair. And at this point, Spider-Man isn't even trying to fight Venom for real. He's just running away. But I guess his controller just disconnected because he stood still, which sets up Venom for a perfect double knee kick like he's Robin, and he makes Spider-Man bash against the helicopter. Venom grapples over to Spider-Man, and I know the people inside of the chopper were pissing their pants, cause imagine a 350-pound giant just jumping around on your helicopter while you're just trying to enjoy the view from up above. Like that's pretty scary if you ask me. I would have just jumped out of the helicopter and hoped somebody would just catch me. So Venom hits him with a scrumptious knuckle sandwich, making Peter fly to the ground. And bro, this man is just doing way too much now, cause Venom breaks off of the propeller, making the passengers fly towards their death. But then Spider-Man comes in clutch and gives them a soft landing with his spiderwebs before the helicopter crashes and makes the entire school burn down. But right as Spider-Man is floating in the air, this man Venom swings in and kicks Spider-Man through the window and straight into the building. And then this freaky ass creature starts crawling onto the wall, and then he does Spider-Man in the worst way possible. Like, I would not tolerate this kind of disrespect if it was me. This dude Venom grabs Spider-Man and slides him off of the table just like this and slams him against the wall. Bro, I had to double check if I was watching the right show, cause ain't no way it's called Spectacular Spider-Man, but this man is getting beat to a pulp. Like, not even Tobey Maguire was getting cooked this badly in his own movie.
You're a victim.
And while Venom is distracted by Gwen Stacy, he just hops onto him like he's his dad or something, and then Spider-Man tells everyone to evacuate the area before he devours them like Rod Wave eating an entire bowl of KFC. But this is where Spider-Man finally turns the tables around, because he takes his head and slams him against the roof, and then Venom grabs him and swings him out of the window. But Spider-Man said he got more in the tank. It's not over just yet, because he says, "Come here, boy," and then kicks him directly in the face, then proceeds to smack him with a projectile, leaving this Looney Tunes imprint. So Venom brings him back inside of the high school, and Peter finally uses his brain for once and slams a baseball bat against the locker, which makes Venom tweak out completely because he falls down on all fours. But that angered him quite a bit, because he gets back up and breaks the entire bat in half, and that was definitely a sign for Peter to dip out of there as fast as he can. And then Spider-Man proceeds to dive down to the first floor, and he turns into Michael Jackson, Smooth Criminal, cause he hits these clean dodges, not letting a single one of Venom's webs touch him. And Venom was not paying attention to his surroundings, because he falls to the ground and takes a bit of fall damage. And basically the fight ends with Venom putting Spider-Man into a high school bully pose, and then he shoves the gene cleanser down his throat. Like, pause, I'm not even gonna say anything, but that was very questionable. But yeah, the mission was successful, and Venom loses all of his symbiote abilities, and everything is back to normal. So the scene starts off with Kraven scouting out the area to hunt down his next target, which appears to be none other than Spider-Man, also known as Puny Parker. And he starts chasing him down immediately, and right as Kraven hit this nefarious smirk, I automatically knew he meant business and he was gonna stand on it. And Kraven doesn't get to wasting any time, because he pulls out his bow and arrow and shoots it at Spider-Man, but then he hits this clean dodge like he's auditioning for the Matrix. And then Spider-Man weaves a few more arrows like he's an Ultra Instinct, and I'm not gonna lie, Kraven should have practice his aim before coming into this fight, because his accuracy is looking horrendous. So Spider-Man proceeds to swing over to the building that Kraven's shooting from, and then he hits the...
are you?
Like, bro, I know Peter Parker was confused as to why this man traveled all across the globe from Russia just to take him down. Like, do you know how dedicated you gotta be to hop on a 26-hour flight from Moscow just to run the fade with a high schooler? And so Kraven pulls out the dual swords, and we cut straight to the action, cause he tries swinging at Spider-Man, but he jumps out of the way and then hits 5 exquisite backflips in a row. Hey, I'm just saying, Peter Parker would be a perfect candidate for the Olympics. He's basically Duke Dennis when it comes to flipping. He could win hella medals if he quit being a superhero and just became an athlete. So Spider-Man webs the swords out of his hands, only for Kraven to body tackle him straight off of the building. And Spider-Man wanted absolutely no smoke with Kraven. He was copping the plea, cause he tries escaping by slinging away, but Kraven says nope. And hey, yo, look at how tight Kraven is hugging him. Bro, if I'm Peter Parker, I don't need a grown man whispering in my ear telling me I'm his prey. Who does he think I am, an animal? So Spider-Man swings his body to the side and then makes him and Kraven go crashing into a building window. And I'm not gonna lie, if I'm this worker and I just witnessed that, I'm quitting that job and leaving New York City permanently. Like, I'm not risking my life for $8 an hour just for me to almost get an unnecessary heart attack. I mean, look at her face, she's traumatized. If you gave me an option to live in NYC or live inside of a wooden box, trust me, I would be out on the streets looking like Squidward. But this man Kraven was not letting go of Spider-Man cause he had him in a devious choking position. Like, look at this is crazy. He's not even strangling Peter Parker with his arms, it's his entire body. I know bro was struggling to breathe under that musty Spider-Man mask. Like, nah, when's the last time Peter put that outfit in the washing machine? I really don't want to know. So Spider-Man bounces Kraven against the two buildings like it's a game of ping pong, and instead of letting Kraven fall to his demise, this man webs him up into a ball and saves his life. Like, yo, this man Peter needs to stop following the narrative that Spider-Man doesn't kill, because we all know that's not true. That's cap. Like, you guys have played those Spider-Man games, right? If he can kill regular civilians, then why why can't he do the same with villains? Like, where's the logic? Then Kraven gets a quick time event and slices out of the spiderwebs like straight butter, and then we get this cold square off between the two, getting ready to throw hands like it's John Cena versus The Rock. And as a Spider-Man fan, this fight was exactly what I've been waiting for. So Kraven pulls out this boomerang, and I'm not gonna lie, when I was first watching this, I started giggling a little bit, because what harm could a boomerang cause? But as the saying goes, I was not familiar with your game. And hold on, pause. I don't know why bro is talking in third person like he's the one commentating over this fight. Like, Kraven needs to leave that for me. That's my job. Like, he really started talking about some
Kravinov can be Kravinov and thrill to a true challenge.
like, man, you corny. So Kraven chucks his boomerang at Spider-Man, but he hits a majestic weave, and he almost broke his back for that one. Like, dang. But then he dodges the boomerang again, only for Spider-Man to get his entire body tangled up along with his legs, making him unable to move around. And as soon as Kraven pulled out the blow dart like Dark Goblin from Clash Royale, I really thought Spider-Man's legacy was all about to come to an end. But nah. Spider-Man miraculously webs the tip while he's barely able to move his arms, and I'm still gonna give credit where credit is due, because he was this close from packing up Spider-Man, and he's probably been the closest out of anyone, so I'm not even gonna hate on Kraven. This man is really doing a better job than the bum Sinister Six, and they had a whole super team of villains. Spider-Man breaks out of Kraven's entrapment and fires a couple of webs, but then he easily evades those by hitting a front flip and then lands behind him and swings his weapon. But that's a weave and another miss. Like, bro, peep the form on this dodge from Spider-Man. Someone give this man a contract to Weave Nation. Those spidey senses are really working overtime for Peter Parker. So after a bit of skedaddling around, this man Kraven leaps to the ground and throws his spear at Spider-Man, and we see a small rip in Peter's outfit. And oh nah, is he really wearing a heart-shaped underwear? That's embarrassing. Like, this is 4K. How did they catch you in 4K? And as soon as Kraven saw Peter Parker's weak underwear, he knew he was free eats, cause he viciously slams him into a taxi and then palms his face like a Spalding basketball. But you guys know Spider-Man, he doesn't tolerate any disrespect, so he grabs him with two arms, picks him up, and then yeets him into a car. And bro, if that's me in the back, best believe I'm speeding out of 5 states in the span of 15 seconds. I'm breaking all types of traffic laws to avoid my car from getting eviscerated. I paid way too much car insurance. I'm already getting scammed by the company. I don't need any extra problems. But anywho, Kraven gets back on his feet and they get to boxing. Spider-Man hits 2 duck down weaves and then does a backflip over Kraven and then dodges a few more of his attacks. And at this point, you could tell by Spider-Man's talking, he was sick of Kraven's nonsense. He had no time to be fighting Kraven, cause bro probably had a history test the next morning. Spider-Man gives him a juicy knuckle sandwich and then he starts knocking some sense into Kraven, talking about,
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
and then Peter proceeds to tie up his feet against the pole, and then he dips the scene casually as if he didn't just take down one of the strongest villains in history. You know what? Overall, 9 out of 10 performance from Peter Parker. I have to applaud him for that one. And before we get into the main course of the video, might as well hit that subscribe button if you're here already. So Kraven pulls up to the laboratory and he asks the scientist to inject the exact same treatment that he gave Peter Parker, which obviously gave him those supernatural abilities. You know Kraven had to hit that level up before taking on Spider-Man for the second time, because he clearly wasn't a match for Peter. He wasn't built for this, but things were about to change real soon. So after Kraven gets the crash out serum injected in his body, this man straight up starts tweaking out, cause bro starts transforming into a literal monster. And bro, do you know how menacing you have to be to make the lion back away from you? And oh nah, this man just turned into Dwayne Johnson. What did they put inside of the serum? Like, someone needs to put Kraven inside of a zoo. He does not deserve to live in broad daylight.
Round 2. Fight.
So after Kraven got his new power-up, he decides to spin the block on Spider-Man and catches him lacking by making claw marks on his drip. And as a person who has immaculate fits, you should know the unwritten rule in a fight is to never lay a finger on the sauce. So then Spider-Man swings around town and lands on the side of the building, and he starts wondering why a lion is after him. But then he soon realizes that this was the same person he just fought right before this. Like, this is exactly the type of stuff you see on National Geographic. They really have a 350-pound lion fighting a baby hyena, which is obviously Peter Parker. And I know for a fact 100% Kraven's breath smells crazy right here. Like, it even made Peter hit that stank face. That's how abominable it was. That crap stank, don't it? Ugh. So Spider-Man starts interrogating Kraven, asking how he ended up looking like this, and he tells him that he paid for a higher class of DNA, and it basically makes him look like a lion on steroids. And obviously Peter does not have that dog in him, so he tries running away, but that don't work. So Kraven grabs his leg and slams him onto the ground, and then he grabs Spider-Man exactly how he was grabbing him in round number 1, and then he proceeds to toss him through some glass and straight onto the floor. And I think the CTE got a hold of Peter because he starts questioning his surroundings, looking everywhere, but this was a fatal mistake. Because bro, if you're in the middle of combat, you should have laser focus because you never know what could hit you at any time. So Kraven sees Spider-Man distracted and says, alright, say less, and then slams him through some more glass. And at this point, Spider-Man is looking like Tobey Maguire right now. He's getting done the worst way possible. But Spider-Man finally starts locking in and gets his head into the game because he dodges every single one of Kraven's attacks with ease and then webs the weapon in Kraven's hand just for him to get flung backwards. But those of you guys who are throwing tomatoes after witnessing Spider-Man's performance, just let him cook because he lifts his foot up and makes Kraven crash into a sculpture. Hey, I don't know how Peter pulled that off, but I know Kraven is pissed right now after getting slammed like that. So literally out of nowhere, Spider-Man gets a phone call from her side chick Liz, and she says,
Flash is in surgery and I'm freaking out. Can you come to Manhattan General?
and Spider-Man and Kraven just start causing a bunch of property damage, destroying cars and buses, and I'm not gonna lie, the Avengers might have some competition when it comes to destroying some stuff. So Spider-Man gets his back completely destroyed by Kraven and also smacks him a few times, making him lay on the snow. And then Spider-Man turns into those annoying multiverses players that spams the same move 50 times in a row, cause he starts webbing Kraven with his spider webs for like 2 minutes straight. Like bro, do you not have any other moves? And then Spider-Man finally runs out of webs to shoot at Kraven, and he's only left with one choice, which is to use his hands. So he hits him up with a 4-piece combo, no Wendy's, and packs him up by laying him out on the spiderweb like a Gotham City resident. So the episode starts off with these goons unloading some bazookas like the one straight off of Halo, but then out of nowhere, Spidey rolls in and kicks him out of the frame, knocking out 2 others in the process. And to those of y'all saying that Spider-Man doesn't kill, look at them, they're dead, bro.
That's why your family's dead. Dead as hell.
2 other NPCs then run in from behind, but Spidey grabs him, doing a clean flip, tossing him away, and then hits bro with a Batman special and breaks his entire back. Brain is definitely proud right now. Like, I know this dude was regretting his entire life. He should have never clocked in today, cause that man Norman is making these goons work overtime for the same wage as SpongeBob. Just put the fries in the bag already. Spidey then hits a magnificent weave, jumps on his shoulder like how Videl did to Gohan, swings bro into the air, and then kicks that crap out of him, catching 4 bodies at one time. Like bro, ain't no way y'all out here losing to a teenager. Everyone in this verse is absolute trash. Look at the Sinister 6. They got folded 2 times back to back. Like at this point, I'm convinced that even I could give Spider-Man a better fight, and the only boxing I know is Wii Sports.
Stop the cap.
So then Spider-Man feels those Spidey senses tingling and then proceeds to turn into an Olympic gymnast like Simone Biles, dodging every shot like he's auditioning for the Matrix. But at this point, Spider-Man is just doing way too much, like Rod Wave still dropping music in 2024, cause Spider-Man could have just dipped the scene by now. I'm pretty sure these goons learned their lesson by now. But nah, this man webs his legs and then slams the life out of this dude, putting him in tighty whities. Like dog, if that was me, I would have retired on the spot. Bro really got turned into a gingerbread imprint. And these goons have to be trained by some stormtroopers, because they're out here missing every single shot that they take. Like, where are you aiming at, dummy? Like, this is that same type of accuracy that'll make Klay Thompson look good. Bro really went 0 for 10 in an elimination game. Please take away his contract. Spider-Man then just casually puts an end to another poor civilian life. You know, just a daily routine, nothing surprising. But then right after he gets finished saving some goons, he then starts questioning these pumpkin heads, asking for the location of Green Goblin, but y'all know they ain't no 6ix9ines out here. And bro, just take a listen at what this evil little rascal has to say.
Attention all squash brains! How about I swear not to take that nickname too literally?
Whoa, 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 hey, 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 hey!
So then the next scene starts off with Spidey rolling up on Norman and Harry mid-conversation. Like, nah, this is the exact problem with society nowadays. How are you gonna pull up to my crib without an invite? Like, someone needs to teach Peter Parker some manners. I mean, surely one of his family members can help him, right? Never mind. Spider-Man then starts interrogating these two, asking which one of you is the Green Goblin, but Norman then tells his side of the story, talking about, I was at Oscorp during the night of Green Goblin's invasion. Like, bro, I'm actually astonished at the fact that Peter doesn't know who the Green Goblin is after 26 episodes. Cause if y'all remember what Norman said in the earlier episodes, even Patrick Star would be able to know the truth by now.
I'll say I was the Goblin. After all, I invented the green. I'm the obvious suspect.
Coincidence? I think not!
So Harry then tells his dad that he has to answer an urgent phone call, and Norman is like, let me go handle this real quick, which leaves Spider-Man alone on this balcony. And bro, as a superhero, you should know that when you're on enemy land, it is on sight at all times. Cause then we see a bunch of hidden goblin grenades at the bottom of the balcony, which causes a gigantic explosion, causing Spider-Man to be left hanging by a single web, just like K-Side's music career. One wrong move and Spider-Man will be reunited with Black Widow and Gwen Stacy. But unexpectedly, we then see the Green Goblin himself make his arrival, and Spidey had the exact same question as me. Who are you? Cause didn't we just see Norman and Harry like 2 minutes ago? Ain't no way they got a fake Green Goblin roaming around the streets of New York City. Like, I know I'm not the only one that was confused while watching this episode. I'm sure y'all were too. And I love Green Goblin cause he was talking like a true menace, talking about, I can't wait till there's a blue and red stain on the pavement. Like, bro, this is a 15-year-old you're beefing with. This reminds me of those middle school days when we had 50-year-olds having generational hate for little kids like it was Goku versus Frieza.
You want to tell me why that is? I don't know. Maybe it's because I exercise and you don't.
But anywho, Green Goblin throws a grenade at Spidey, which makes him start falling to his demise, but that's until he grabs onto the ledge, barely holding on like Ninja's career after Fortnite. And bro, look at the weapon that Green Goblin is using right now. This man Spidey is really out here fighting against GTA loadouts with some spider webs. So then Spider-Man hits a majestic weave and then literally disappears into thin air like a dad when it's time to get the milk. And he had Green Goblin like, hey yo, where'd this little rascal go? But Spidey then webs his face, which makes Green Goblin lose full control cause he starts shooting lasers while he's blinded. But then bro literally teleports to a different location and puts an end to this little altercation. So Spider-Man then spins back on Harry and Norman and comes to the conclusion that neither of these two can be Green Goblin since he literally just fought him face on. But then Norman starts capping his hat off, talking about,
a voice can be mimicked, technology copied.
Are you serious right now, bro?
cause ain't no way Norman expects us to believe him with that Anthony Mackie expression on his face. We know you're hiding something. Bro knows something we don't. Wait, so if you're not the Green Goblin, then who else has access to the globulin green? And then Norman immediately pulls out his phone and starts framing one of his employees at Oscorp, Donald Mencken, who knows all about the existence of the globulin formula. Hey yo, what's his address on there?
Well, it says here 285 Dingleberry Street.
And Norman has to be the worst boss that you can ever work for, cause how are you gonna put the blame on me talking about?
But Mencken nearly destroyed my son. Worse, he betrayed me.
Shut your
So the next day begins and Spidey pulls up to Donald Mencken's crib and he didn't even give bro a chance to introduce himself, not even a higher hello, cause Spidey webs him and puts him in a high school bully post telling him,
I know you're the Green Goblin.
Like, Peter, ain't no way you actually believe this Nick A30 ripoff to be Green Goblin. Like, Donald was just as disappointed as much as I am.
Hey pal, you just blowing from Stupid Town?
But suddenly, a bunch of purple gas starts going off, causing Donald and Spidey to pass out. And then we hear someone manically laughing in the background, and it's none other than Green Goblin himself, which honestly isn't surprising.
You are so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
Green Goblin starts gripping onto Spider-Man like a Gotham City resident, elevates him in the air, and then lands a spinning kick, sending him flying out the frame. But while that's happening, we then see Harry controlling a helicopter, and I don't know why he thought this was a good idea, considering he's overdosed on that Goblin Leaf. Like, bro's really been sipping that liquid like green apple Kool-Aid. Please take him off that helicopter now. So while Spidey is fighting for his life after inhaling that purple gas, we then see Green Goblin showboating, spinning around on his hover pad. This man is doing everything except what needs to be done. Like, I promise Mary Jane is not watching right now. You do not have to be doing all that. Spidey then gets back up and instantly leaps at Green Goblin, landing a ferocious kick, grabbing him by the legs, making bro leave his hover pad in the middle of the air. And oh nah, look at Donald Mencken. I know bro is tight right now because he literally just moved into his new apartment and it already got turned into a junkyard. That's tough. So then Spider-Man proceeds to land a vicious gut check and then wraps Green Goblin around with his spiderwebs like a Christmas present. But Green Goblin gets his quick time event and breaks out, and this is exactly where pure havoc breaks loose. Cause Spider-Man lands a calm right into a karate kick and look at the form of the technique. That is next level stuff right there. He got his legs hitting that obtuse angle. Sanji would be proud right now. Spider-Man and Green Goblin then go at it for a while until he flings him to the side and then starts hitting the escape. But Spidey really said, I'm going wherever you're going, cause cause he starts tailing behind Green Goblin. And this actual meathead took the top off his car no gunna. And you know Spider-Man has motion while he got people cheering for him while he literally cooked your whole car. Like bro, if that was me, I'm filing a lawsuit. I'm not gonna take 2 L's in a row. First, me living in New York City, and second, my car looking like one of these. So after a bit of flying around, this man Green Goblin lasers the web, causing for Spidey to start flying right into this obstacle, which begins shooting a bunch of explosives over and over again from every direction. Like, I ain't never seen this type of dedication to end someone this badly. Norman needs to put the same energy into having a good relationship with his son. Out here moving like Goku with Gohan, he does not care if you die. But the madness does not end here, cause a bunch of pumpkin heads start firing at Spider-Man, but this man is dodging everything like a Weave Nation candidate. Like, Norman really had these goons inside of tiny little drones shooting some Diddy liquid at the wall. Like, ew, bro. Like, dog, New York is not a real place. Imagine being a resident and seeing all of this go on right here. So Spider-Man maneuvers his way around the city at extremely high speeds, something that Rod Wave is unable to do, which in result, Green Goblin beams the crap out of Spider-Man, sending him tumbling onto a rooftop with a bunch of goons on standby. Spider-Man then rolls over, webs both of the goons, and then leaps onto Green Goblin's hoverpad. And bro, I don't know if y'all caught this part, but it just had me dying.
Do you think the Goblin could be Mom?
But then Spidey turns into Prime Thanos cause he squad wipes every single goon in the vicinity but ends up getting launched onto a building window. And then Spider-Man ties these two with his webs, resulting in an explosion, but Spider-Man saves the day and lets them live. Spider-Man then swings away from the crime scene only to get ran by Green Goblin and gets his back absolutely obliterated with some explosives, which causes for bro to land on a rooftop for the second time, giving Peter that clean look identical from Spider-Man 1. Like, I don't know if it's just me, but it's something about the ripped mask that just looks so cold to me. Then Green Goblin cuts off Spidey's webs, but that was not effective cause he comes in with a mean knuckle sandwich, causing for Green Goblin to have his back turned on Spidey. And he takes full advantage cause he puts him into a freaky pose. Like, Peter, I did not know that Diddy taught you how to fight, because what is this? Spider-Man then proceeds to take the mask off Green Goblin's face after 2 whole seasons, like it's about dang time. And this is where Spider-Man turns into a complete villain cause he puts a bomb on Green Goblin's hoverpad, which makes him fly right into a huge bowl of explosives and sends Green Goblin to the gulag. Like, dog, this version of Spider-Man is an actual serial killer. He makes Tobey Maguire look like a law-abiding citizen. Is this not murder, bro? But anyways, that's the end of the video, and if you guys enjoyed, make sure to hit the subscribe button if y'all want to see me cover Spider-Man 3, and I got y'all. I'm out. Peace.